Hi guys, welcome to Zekai Maths. Today we are going to go through predicted paper 3 for foundation. For this paper you're going to need to use your calculator, so make sure you've got a calculator in front of you. And if you had a chance to download the paper, then that will be great for you to just have the paper in front of you and take notes as we go along. So starting off with question number 1, it's asking us to work out the value of 3 to the power of 6 take away root 841. So what I'm going to do with this question is that I am going to type this into my calculator and it's going to give me the answer, which is going to give me 700. Question 2 is asking us to solve 5x equal 15. So we need to divide both sides with 5 since x is multiplied by 5. So we do the inverse, divided by 5, divided by 5. X therefore becomes 3. Question 3, factorize fully 50x plus 100. So the common factor for both of these numbers, the highest factor is going to be 50. So I can take 50 outside the bracket. So that will be 50 times x is going to give me 50x plus 50 times something is going to give me 100. So that's going to be 2. So my final answer is going to be 50 outside the bracket, x plus 2 inside the bracket. Question 4, multiply out 5x, 3x minus 2. So we're going to times 5x and 3x. 5 times 3 is 15. X times x is going to give us x squared. And we'll multiply 5x and negative 2. 5 times 2 is going to be 10. So that's a negative 10 and x. So the answer is going to be 15x squared, take away 10x. Question 5, write down all the integers to satisfy the inequality. So there is a line under this inequality, that means 3 is going to be included. So negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0. I just think about my number line all the way up to 2, but not including 2 because there is no line underneath the inequality sign. Question 6, solve the inequality. So we've got, I'm just going to rewrite it here, 2x out of 3 is less than or equal to 4. So what we need to do is, because there's division, we're going to need to multiply both sides by 3. So that's going to give me 2x is less than or equal to 12. We're going to then divide it by 2 for both sides. And x therefore is going to be less than or equal to 6. Next question, we're going to need to expand the bracket. I'm going to rewrite it here as well so I've got enough space to do the question. I will do 4 times x, 4 times 1. 4 times x is 4x, 4 times 1 is 4. Is greater than 12. We're going to need to take 4 away from both sides. So 4x is greater than 8. Divide both sides by 4. So x is greater than 2. Represent the solution set that satisfies both answers for part A and B on the number line. So, okay, there is 2 is here. It's not shaded in, so we're not including 2 here. So we want everything greater than. It's going to go towards that way. And 6 is here. We're going to shade this in because 6 is going to be a value that will be included in. There you go. And this satisfies both of them. Work out the highest common factor of 12 and 18 for question 7. So factors of 12, 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Factors of 18 are 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. And the highest common factor is 6. Question 8, put these probabilities in order starting with the least likely. So 72% is the same thing as, I'm going to convert them into a decimal. So 72% is 0.72. This is 0.705 anyway. 7 out of 10 is the same thing as 0.7 or 0.70. I know that the smallest one is going to be this. but I'm going to write down the original one, which is 7 out of 10. We're not going to write down the one that we converted. Next one is going to be 0.705 because that's the original one. And the final one obviously is going to be 72%. And that's going to be my answer. Question 9. This solid shape is made from identical cubes. On the grid, draw the side elevation L and R. So the side elevation L, so it has got 1, 2, 3 on each side, right? 1, 2, 3. So the side elevation on the left is going to look like this, and the right is going to look like this. There we go. How many cubes must be added to the shape to make this cuboid? Okay, so I can add 1 here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I need that 2 times. And I'm going to need 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here, and that is 3. So I'm going to add 3 to it. So that's going to be 15. Question 10, we've got a right angle triangle, and they actually ask us to use Pythagoras' theorem to work out the value of y. So it's going to be a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we can use y squared, 9 squared, and 14 squared. Y squared, 9 squared is 81, and 14 squared is 196. We need to solve this. So we take 81 away from both sides, which simplifies the 81s. That just becomes 0. So y squared is going to be 115, and y therefore becomes, I type this into my calculator, it's going to give me this. 9. There you go. And you can just write all the digits if you want. Question 11. Bobby has these notes. We've got 3 lots of £5, X lots of £10. The total amount they have is going to be T pounds. So 3 times £5 is going to give me 15. X lots of £10 is going to give me 10x. And the total of this is the total cost. So that means T is 15 plus 10x. So I'm just going to write it down here. Question 12. Work out the volume of the cube. So we need to multiply area of the base times it by the depth. So the area is 0.7 times 0.7 times 0.7. Which gives us 0.343 meters cubed. The diagram shows a square. Work out the length of one side of the square. So if it's a square, then that means the two lengths are going to be the same. So I can write it down as 8x minus 5 is the same thing as 4x plus 6. So we've got 8x minus 5, 4x plus 24. We take 4x away, and that's going to give me 4x minus 5 is equal to 24. We add 5 to both sides, which 4x in this case is 29. Then we need to divide it by 4, because it's multiplied by x, we need to do the inverse. So 29 divided by 4 is going to give us 7.25. But I'm not done yet because they're asking me to find out one side of the square. So you could use either of them. I'm just going to use this. It's 8 times 7.25 take away 5, which is going to give us 53 centimeters. Question 14, complete the bank statement. A couple of things we need to remember about these questions. When we are completing the bank statements, credit means add on, debit means take away. So if I start off with the balance of £1,140.79, in order for me to find out this section here, I need to take 256 away from that amount. So that's going to give me 884.79, and I use the calculator for this. My next stage is from balance, I am paying the gas bill, which is £87.31. So if I take £87.31 away from £884.79, that's going to give me £797.48. So that's how much I've got now, and I've been credited the salary of £2,069.75. So which is then going to be added on. That means I am going to finish off with this. Okay, so we've got £2,867.25. Write down the meaning of debit as used in the bank statement. And this is the amount that has been added on to our balance. Question 15, the rectangle and the triangle have the same area. Work out the length of the rectangle. So if I try to find out the area of this triangle, I will need to do base times height divided by 2. So that's going to be 12 times 16, and I need to half it. And that gives me 96 centimeters squared. So the area of this is length times 7.5. And this is the same as 96, is what the question is saying. They have the same area. So since 7.5 is multiplied with L, we could divide both sides with 7.5, and we can find out what the length is going to be. So if I divide them, that's going to be 12.8, and that's what I was looking for. Question 16. The price of a toy increases by 12.5% to £19.53. Work out the original price of a toy. So this box here represents my original. And this original price, since there's been an increase of 12.5%, that's 100% plus the 12.5%. That is 112.5%, which is divided by 100 to get the decimal. So that's going to be 1.125. So this original amount was multiplied with 1.125, and that gave us £19.53. We are now going to be doing the inverse of this to find out how much the original was. So we need to do 19.53 divided by 1.125, and that is going to give us £17.36. I'm going to write it here. Question 17, complete the table of values for y equals 2x minus 1. So if I substitute 0 into this, it becomes y is equal to 2 times 0 take away 1. So that is negative 1 then. And here, y is equal to 2 times 2 take away 1. 2 times 2 is 4, take away 1 is 3. So I need to then plot and sketch this -2 and -5, -1 and -3, 0 and -1, 1 and 1, 2, 3, and 3, 5. Which means I'm just going to use my highlighter for this. My line is going to be going along here. And we draw a straight line. There we go. The table shows information about some CDs, and here are the types of the CDs. So we've got rock, pop, and jazz. A CD is chosen at random. The probability that it is going to be rock is 1 out of 20. So if I write 1 out of 20, I know that rock has to be 2 out of something because I've got 2 of them. So that means if I times this by 2, then I will be able to find out what the total number is. So that's going to be 40. So this means there are 40 CDs in this scenario. So if I was to add 2x plus 5, it should add up to 40. So I'm going to have 3x plus 7 is equal to 40. Take away 7, take away 7. Three x is going to be 33. We then need to divide both sides with 3 to find out x, and x would be 11. So they're asking us to find out the probability of jazz. So we need to substitute this 11 here. So that's going to be 2 times 11 plus 5. So that is 22 plus 5, 27. And that is out of 40. Right, the probability is going to be out of 40. 27 out of 40. There we go. Question 19. 2 shops sell bottles of apple juice. Shop X, shop Z, they give us the information. At which shop is it cheaper to buy 24 bottles? Okay, so with shop X, 4 bottles, 250, and we want to get 24 bottles. That means this needs to be multiplied with 6. So £2.50 times it by 6 is going to be £15. But then they give us 10% discount. So 10% of 15 is £1.50. So we need to take £1.50 away from 15, which is going to give us £13.50. So 24 bottles here will cost us £13.50 because we took the discount away, which was £1.50. Shop Z, 12 bottles will cost us £7. We're trying to find out 24 bottles. There are no discounts or anything for this one, so that means we're going to be able to double that. So it's going to be £14. And the shop that's cheaper is going to be shop X by 50p. Question 20. A pie chart shows some information about the share of votes for candidates in an election. The angle for Mrs. Wood would be 24 more than the angle of Mrs. Patel. So whatever this is, so if I call this X, this is 24 degrees more. So I know angles around the point should add up to 360 degrees. So if I was to just add these up and take it away from 360, I should be able to find out X. So I'm gonna do this. So all of this should add up to 360 degrees. X plus x is 2x. 24, 64 is going to give us 88, 360. I'm going to then take away 88 from both sides. So 2x is 272, and I type this into my calculator. We'll need to divide both sides by 2 to find out what x is. And x becomes 136. So we are looking for number of votes for Mrs. Patel. So Mrs. Patel's taking 136 out of 360 of the votes, and there are 5,220 votes in total. So we need to times this by 5,220, which when I do this on my calculator, it gives me 1,972. Question 21. The number of hedgehogs in England is expected to reduce by 4% each year. That means if we start off with 100%, there is going to be a reduction of 4%. That gives us 96%, which is 0.96. Assume there are 1 million of them in England now. Work out the expected number of hedgehogs in England after 5 years. So 1 million multiplied by 0.96 after 5 years to the power of 5 is going to be, so when I type this into my calculator, it gives me 81537.2.6976, which I can't have 0.6 of a hedgehog, so I need to write down 81537.2. Question 22. Some students were asked about their daily exercise. 12 more students answered yes than answered no. Okay, so 12 more students answered yes than answered no. So that means if I take 12 away from 35, I'll be able to find out that this section is going to be 23. 35 take away 12, so that's going to be 23. So these two branches with yes and no should add up to the previous one, which is going to be 58. So this is from 35 plus 23. And if I've got 27 here, I will need 8 to make it 35. So question B is saying that one of the 35 students who answered yes is chosen at random. What's the probability that they exercise for at least 1 hour? From 35, the ones who exercise at least for 1 hour is 27. So it could be 27 out of 35. Question 23, solve the simultaneous equation. So with this simultaneous equation question, 2y and 2y are the same. So the two terms are the same. So what we can do is we can check the signs. They're both positive. That means we will be able to take them away. So when we take them away, that's going to give us 7x take away 3x is going to give me 4x. 2y take away 2y is going to disappear. That's gone. And 36 take away 16 is 20. We then divide both sides with 4 to get x to be 5. So now that I know what x is, I'm going to substitute it into one of the equations. So that's going to be, well, you can substitute it either in the first or the second one. It gives you the same answer in the end. So this is 3 times 5 plus 2y is equal to 16. 15 plus 2y is equal to 16. We will take 15 away from both sides, which is going to give us 2y as 1. We'll then need to divide it by 2 to find out what y is, and y is going to be half, or you can write down 0.5. It's up to you. Question 24. Here's the plan of the floor of an L-shaped room. All lengths are in meters. The area of the floor is 75 meters squared. Show that x squared plus x minus 90 is going to be 0. So I can separate it from here and find out the area of these shapes. So this bit here, area is x minus 5 times x plus 1. That is x squared plus x minus 5x minus 5, which simplifies down to this when I collect the like terms. Then area of this is going to be 5 times x minus 2. So that's going to be 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. So when I add these, x squared minus 4x minus 5 plus 5x minus 10, this should equate to 75. So this is x squared plus x minus 15 is equal to 75. We simplified, and we need to take 75 away from both sides since we are trying to write it down as a quadratic, and it needs to equate to 0. So we're going to have x squared plus x minus 90 is equal to 0. So that's how we can find it. By factorizing, work out the value of x. So by factorizing, it has to be double brackets. 9 and 10 gives you 90, and plus 10 minus 9 will give you the positive 1 in front of the x. So x is going to be either positive 9, or we've got another option, negative 10. X is one of our lengths, so we cannot have a negative length. Therefore, the answer is going to be 9. Question 25. A straight line has gradient 6 and passes through the point 3, 19. X is 3, y is 19. When a straight line has a gradient of 6, we write it down as 6x. We don't know what the y-intercept is, we write it as c. Then we can substitute 19 and 3 in here. So that could give us 19 is equal to 6 times 3 plus c. So 6 times 3 is going to give you 18. So we're going to have 19 is equal to 18 plus c. I will take 18 away from both sides, which would be 1. So that means my equation is going to be y equals 6x plus 1. So I'll write it here, 6x plus 1. Question 26. This shape is made from 2 right-angled triangles and a rectangle. Work out the size of angle x. When looking at the shape, we should recognize that if we knew what this length was, the highlighted section, we would be able to just use SOHCAHTOA. So in that case, what we could do is we could use this side and find out, if I call this x, find out x. So if this is the angle, this is opposite, this is adjacent, and this is hypotenuse. So if I write my SOHCAHTOA, I'm going to need to use opposite, and I can use adjacent. So that means it's going to be tan. So tan 62 is equal to, opposite is x, divided by the adjacent, which is 5. We can then times both sides with 5. 5 tan 62 is going to give us 9.4. So this means this length here is 9.4. So I can use this length now and do another sin cos tan. So this is opposite, this is adjacent, this is hypotenuse. The two lengths I could use are opposite and hypotenuse. That means it's going to be thin. So thin x is equal to 9.4 divided by 12. So we need to do shift sin and type this into our calculator, which should give us 51 point something as our answer. So I just wanted to say that I'm so proud of you guys. Well done for doing some extra revision, and good luck in your exam. I'm sure you're going to go in there and smash it.